This is InfoTained. Be informed. Be entertained. The biggest lies about them. Nations, governments, power, people and places. Truths and lies. This is a cinematic examination. This is not an opinion. This is not an accusation. And this is not a judgment. It is a cinematic storytelling by InfoTained. Be informed. Be entertained. Part 1. The stories we were told. Nations and institutions influence beliefs. They do so by adjusting and ultimately filtering truths. These truths are selectively amplified and magnified, while muting others for strategic purposes. Visible governments and invisible interests play critical roles in shaping education systems, media output, and belief frameworks across the world. They told you stories which were often a mixture of lies and truths. These comprised stories that were truths laced with lies, and lies that were clothed convincingly as truths. Stories about nations, governments, power, people and places. Stories about who is good and who is evil. Stories that made you to believe them or doubt them about power, the populace, prosperity and poverty of nations. Who holds the power of a nation? Who deserves prosperity and who must struggle? Are the stories that they told you only just to make you to accept the world that they designed for you without any questioning? What is the gap between the world that you live in and the one that you desired or deserved? So, what if the world you think you know was shaped not just by truth, but by adjusted and filtered facts or outright lies? They told you what to believe, and just as importantly, what not to question. Over time, these stories hardened into assumptions. Those assumptions quietly became the lenses through which we interpret history, judge current events, and imagine the future. Part 2. Who are them? When we say them, we are referring to systems and institutions, nations and governments, powers and people whose influences extend far beyond their borders, shaping destinies. In this cinematic examination, which is not an opinion, not an accusation or a judgment, the them include the United States of America, USA, China, Russia, Germany, the United Kingdom, UK, India, and France, among others. Furthermore, when we say others, we mean the rising influences, especially the disruptive ones, nations that can or may alter or challenge the status quo. The others also include those that do not wield any influence, but they cannot be entirely ignored in the schemes of things. Among the superpower nations that hold power and wield influence, they exert their presence and control, not only through political power and prowess, economic or military strength, but through storytelling about themselves and about others. These are the them in this examination. These are the dominant players often presented as pillars of global order. They are the global power game players. The USA, China, Russia, the UK, and France are widely regarded as the foremost global power players due to their significant military, economic, and diplomatic influence. While the US remains the dominant superpower, China's rapid rise challenges this status, and Russia maintains strategic clout despite economic constraints. The UK and France retain strong international roles through nuclear capabilities, permanent United Nations UN Security Council seats, and extensive foreign policy reach. These 5 nations shape global governance, security, and trade, though emerging powers like India and regional blocs are increasingly influential. Current power dynamics, as of the start of 2026, revealed facts that you would either believe or doubt, accept or reject. These are facts that you were either told about these nations, or these nations actually told you by themselves, either for them to be respected or to be feared. In the subsequent episodes on the Biggest Lies series, InfoTained will zero in details with the biggest lies about each of the global superpower nations, and also zero in on the biggest lies about your own country, whether your nation is already a superpower, or it is an emerging superpower, or it is still a submerged nation. However, in this introductory episode, here are some quick and brief facts about the world's superpowers. The United States continues to rank as the world's foremost economic and military power, with a defense budget reaching nearly $895 billion. However, it faces a more selective and transactional approach to multilateralism under the current administration as of 2026. China has solidified its position as the primary challenger to U.S. dominance, now leading the world in GDP by purchasing power parity, PPP, at $43.4 trillion. Some analysts now consider China to have effectively replaced Russia as the secondary global anchor. Russia is said to maintain its status as a disruptor with a massive nuclear arsenal, holding 87% of the world's nuclear warheads alongside the US. While its traditional great power status is debated due to military underperformance in Ukraine, it remains a critical player in global security and energy. These facts here are regardless of whether you like or dislike Russia. The United Kingdom and France both retain global reach through nuclear capabilities, advanced navies, and permanent veto power. However, they are increasingly seen as middle powers within a broader European context, with the UK's soft power reaching its lowest ever ranking in 2026. The structural influence wielded by the 5 traditional superpowers is through the UN Security Council. The 5 hold exclusive veto power, allowing them to block any non-procedural resolution. This has led to ongoing criticism of paralysis on major issues like Ukraine and the Middle East. Meanwhile, there are concerns about emerging challengers to them. India is, for instance, widely cited as the most likely next great power, currently ranking as the world's 4th largest economy and military. As a result, strategic realignment has been imminent. This has positioned 2026 for likely disruptive geo-economic confrontation. This is because nations will be focusing on aligning economic sovereignty and onshoring supply chains to mitigate geopolitical risks, which are very likely to impact the balance of power in the global power game. Today, China, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, Russia, the United Kingdom, and the United States are internationally recognized great powers. More so, India is being considered as the most likely country to become a great power in the near future. Overall, each power game player projects a carefully constructed image. Each sells a version of itself to the world, and often to its own people. And each player benefits when its narrative is accepted without scrutiny. The questions are these facts truths, or they are adjusted truths, or they are outright lies? Are the facts what they really are, or they are what the authors want you to believe about them? Would you believe or doubt them, accept or reject these facts? Would your choices be based on merits, or they would be based on sentiments and interests? For example, would you reject some true facts simply because you dislike, or even deeper that, you actually hate a government or a country? Or would you accept false narratives as truths, depending on vested interests? These and other questions are the reasons why InfoTained is examining the biggest lies about them. Even if you cannot shape the world, your choice to accept, reject, or question the world that they designed for you is still a part of the world you live in. This may be a world that is designed against or in line with the world that you desired or deserved. The world you live is not all, and only defined by them through their economic and military might, but by their narratives, whether truths, adjusted truths, or lies. They all formed an arch and a part in the world they shaped for you. Part 3. Bitter truths and sweet lies. In the world that we live in, comforting lies are often favored over harsh realities. Most truths are difficult to accept. We call them bitter truths. Lies, on the other hand, often sound good. They are reassuring, hopeful, and emotionally satisfying. Across societies, many people, both powerful and powerless, reject bitter truths with better long-term outcomes, and instead embrace sweet lies with bitter endings, only to later regret those choices secretly and silently. Rarely does it undo the damage already done. Overall, it is the manipulations, the lies, the tilted truths, and the tinted realities we accepted from those in power that guide and shape the destinies of billions. These are the plain, hard truths of our modern world. This is the truth that exposes the fact that dreams constructed, including your dream world, too frequently become unattained or unrealized realities. Part 4. How reality is shaped. Reality is increasingly understood not as an objective, fixed state, but as a personalized construct, shaped by the constant flow and processing of information. This begins with you both internally from within you and externally, as a force exerting on you. 1. There is the biological and neural shaping of reality. Your brain acts as a sophisticated data processor, not a passive observer. It filters a staggering amount of environmental data, estimated at 1,000 gigabits per second, for a full 360-degree visual experience, into a manageable stream that aligns with your survival needs and prior expectations. 2. Social and narrative shaping of reality. Social reality is a product of externalization, human activity, objectivation, treating products as pre-existing facts, and internalization, absorbing these facts back into the mind. Then crystallization set in. In the age of social media, information from your social network acts as a neo-agenda setter. Subjective beliefs shared within a group eventually crystallize into what the group perceives as objective reality, often creating diverging pool of true truths or false facts. The media mechanisms, both traditional and digital media, use tools like agenda setting, deciding what you think about, and framing, deciding how you think about it, to mold public consciousness. For example, framing a protest as a riot versus a civil rights demonstration fundamentally shifts the lived reality for the audience. 3. Theoretical and physical foundations of reality. The objective information theory, OIT, posits that information is a third constituent of the universe, alongside matter and energy, acting as the connection of things that defines their movement and state. Furthermore, by information density, physical phenomena are manifestations of data interactions, suggesting the universe may be fundamentally informational, as some information subtle truths, while some are grand lies. Yet all of them, whether obvious or invisible, quietly guide the destinies of nations and the lives of billions who may never realize how deeply their thinking has been shaped. From the largest powers to the smallest nations, from wealth to poverty, from ancient history to the present moment, power has been exercised, information weaponized, and perception deliberately created and controlled by the powerful. Lies adjusted to fit control narratives, and truths trimmed, polished, and rearranged to fit narratives that benefit those at the top, gradually shaped the world into a system of divisions, a multi-layered global structure. What if information itself became a weapon? Weaponized narratives? Weaponized history? Weaponized hope? In our world, power and poverty have both been weaponized. Money, they say, is neutral. Yet money exists only in the heads of the poor, mostly in their minds as an idea, a hope, a limitation, while it lives tangibly, comfortably, and decisively in the hands of the rich. Together, these forces configured the world into the layers we live in today. Across different layers of society, both lies and truths conspire to turn the world into a food web, or perhaps more accurately, a food chain. At the top, the strongest feed on strength itself. Below them, the powerful feed on opportunity. Further down, the weak struggle to survive. And at the very bottom, entire populations are reduced to resources, consumed quietly and repeatedly trodden down. This is not a story about villains and heroes. This is a story about what we were told, what was hidden, and what quietly shaped us all. Part 5. Mirrors and Masks of Power. You were told that America is the land of dreams, freedom, equality, and opportunity. But how many dreams quietly became nightmares? How free is freedom with selective, non-universal controls? How many promises were conditional, unevenly distributed, or quietly withdrawn? Beneath the polished image lies a complex reality of economic disparity, racial tension, political division, and endless foreign interventions. Opportunity exists, but in ways that make many less opportune. Freedom is not entirely free because of the conditions attached. China's story is told as that of an ancient civilization, reborn into global prominence. Depending on perspective, it can be seen as a people's country or a state's country. China says it is committed to promoting world peace and mutual development. Is this believed or doubted, true or false? Or this is selectively true, depending on the interests involved. Russia is framed as a perpetual antagonist, defiant, aggressive, unpredictable. Yet within Russia, the story is one of historical humiliation, existential threats, and survival against encroachment. Europe as a continent with the UK and France often presents itself as the moral compass of modern civilization, democratic, progressive, humane. Yet its wealth was built on centuries of colonization, extraction, and enforced imbalance, histories that are frequently softened, reframed, or omitted. India is celebrated as the world's largest democracy and a rising economic force, while extreme inequality, internal divisions, and unresolved social hierarchies persist beneath the surface. Lies masked as truths, hidden or suppressed truths, adjusted narratives shaped by those who hold the levers of power. These narratives matter because they frame how nations are trusted, feared, welcomed, or resisted. Part 6. The smallest players in the largest game. To keep the smaller ones small and controllable, major powers' narratives often present the adjusted truths and filtered realities, such as idealized national images, which concealed inequalities and strategic manipulations. This created a global system of exploitation by stronger powers, while weaker forces are marginalized, making survival a calculated strategy rather than a natural condition. In this system, naivety remains costly for smaller, marginalized forces. Small nations are often overlooked. However, they are not entirely irrelevant to the global ecosystem. Despite being the weakest in terms of geopolitical power play, some are actually too strong to be ignored. Strong because of favorable resource endowments, strategic locations, or transit leverage. Others are economically fragile, yet politically valuable. Their stories are frequently dismissed. Yet some small states become sweet darlings of powerful nations, either for protection or for oppression. Dependence often begins as security and quietly evolves into control, exploitation, or silent domination. Some small nations become dependent on powerful nations for protection, which could lead to oppression, and exploitation by stronger countries. Independence or changing masters or shifting of alliances rarely guarantees freedom, perpetuating cycles of controls. Influence does not always come from size. Sometimes it comes from position. Part 7. A world built on belief. The world continues not through truth or lies alone, but through the strategic arrangement of both, or through the one that arrived first. Every so often, from historical antecedents between truths and lies, lies always arrive first ahead of truths. There are reasons why lies travel faster. Truth is heavy. It demands context, patience, value, and thinking. Lies are light. They travel faster, feel good, and ask for nothing in return. Adjusted truths are the most dangerous of all. They contain enough reality to avoid suspicion, yet enough distortion to guide behavior. When enough people believe the same distortion, it becomes policy. And policy reshapes reality. This is the true weaponization of information with the mind as the battlefield. It is information weaponized, not to enlighten, but to create and guide beliefs. In the end, belief gains power. The perception created and controlled becomes the playgrounds of the powerful. The narratives determine who rises, who falls, stays down, and who remains invisible. This is not chaos, it is design. Part 8. Why this matters now. This is not ancient history. It is happening now. The end goal of the mind war games are the most critical reasons for the lies, or the truths, that they chose to tell you. Wars begin long before weapons fire. They begin in language, in headlines, in classrooms, in movies, in stories, and in silence. The world did not arrive here by accident. It arrived through choices, shaped by lies accepted and truths ignored on a geopolitical journey guided by interests. Understanding this does not make one powerful, but it makes one harder to control. Part 9. Closing. Behind every global narrative lies a global game of power play, and behind every power play lies a choice you were invited to make, often without knowing the cost during the journey or the process of perception formation. The world got to where we are at today from those meetings and summit rooms in which your interests were either protected or mortgaged. You can choose to be indifferent, do something, or at least question the biggest lies about them. This has been the biggest lies about them. Nations, governments, power, people and places. Truths and lies. Next in this series, InfoTained will zero in on the damaging lies and defining truths about the United States of America. InfoTained. Be informed. Be entertained.